You close your eyes and let your breath soften, sinking deeper into the quiet. The world around you fades, and before you unfolds the timeless land of India, where mountains stretch into the clouds, rivers gleam like silver threads, and ancient winds carry whispers of stories that are thousands of years old. These are not just stories, but the very heartbeat of a civilization, tales that bind together gods, humans, and the vast universe itself. You are about to wander into the garden of Hindu mythology, where time itself is not a straight line, but an endless circle where beginnings fold into endings and endings awaken new beginnings. Hindu mythology is not one tale, but many. It is a vast collection of voices, sages reciting under the stars, poets chanting in royal courts, storytellers whispering to children beside the village fire. Each age has added its layer, its rhythm, its vision of the cosmos. And so the myths are not still. They live, they change, they flow, like the sacred Ganges that never ceases to run. The origins take you far back into the mists of the Indus Valley civilization, more than 4,000 years ago. Here in cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, people carved seals of strange horned figures and sacred animals. Their symbols spoke of powers beyond the human forces of fertility storms and flowing rivers. Though their language is long lost, their memory lingers like shadows at dawn, hinting that even then the seeds of myth had been planted. Then comes the Vedic period around 1500 BCE, when wandering tribes sang hymns to the fire, to the storm, to the dawn. These hymns, preserved in the Rig Veda, are the oldest scriptures of India. You hear the chanting voices rise, Agni, the fire god, blazing on the altar, Indra, the mighty warrior with thunderbolt in hand, slaying the serpent that hoarded the waters, Varuna, the vast one who watches over cosmic law, Soma, the sacred drink that opened doors to the divine. These gods were close elemental raw, like the forces of nature themselves. Life was uncertain, the universe mysterious, and the hymns were bridges of trust between mortal and immortal. The age shifted, and with it the stories deepened. In the Brahmanical period, priests explained the rituals, drawing lines between the human world and the divine. The fire sacrifices became maps of the universe itself, every chant a vibration holding the cosmos together. In these moments, mythology was not just story, but instruction, a way of holding order in a vast and dangerous world. From about 900 to 600 BCE bloomed the Upanishadic period. Now you are drawn deeper into the forests where sages sat in meditation, listening not to thunder but to the silence within. Here arose the profound idea of Brahman, the ultimate reality beyond gods and forms, an infinite ocean of being, and the whisper followed within each person dwells the Atman, the soul, no different from Brahman itself. The stories turned inward. The myth became philosophy, teaching that the universe outside is mirrored by the universe within. Still, human hearts longed for heroes, for battles of good and evil, for love and sorrow and triumph. And so dawned the epic period from 400 BCE to 400 CE. Out of this age came the great rivers of story, the Mahabharata, the longest epic poem in the world, filled with kings and warriors, with betrayals and dharma, with Krishna guiding the lost prince Arjuna upon the field of Kurukshetra. Alongside it, the Ramayana, the tale of noble Rama, his loyal wife Sita, and the devoted Hanuman who leaps mountains to rescue her from the demon Ravana. These are not just tales of war and love, they are living instructions on righteousness, duty, devotion, and the price of choice. From around 300 CE began the Puranic age, stretching many centuries. Here, the gods became as close as family. The stories blossomed with color and variety. Vishnu, taking countless avatars to save the world. Shiva, dwelling in mountain caves, the goddess in her many forms, gentle and fierce, nurturing and destructive. Entire worlds were created and dissolved in these tales, each retelling shaping the way people prayed, celebrated and imagined the divine. The Tantric age, from 900 to 1600 CE, brought mystery and symbolism practices of meditation and sacred power, where the goddess Shakti was worshipped as the very energy of existence. Temples carved in stone rose like mountains themselves, their walls alive with gods and demons, dancers and sages, cosmic battles and eternal embraces. And then, into the modern age, the myths did not vanish. They still live on temple walls, in festivals that light the night with lamps and firecrackers, in songs sung at dawn, in stories whispered by grandparents to children drifting to sleep. Even today the gods walk beside rivers, sit in shrines, and stir in the dreams of those who believe. You breathe slowly, and you see that Hindu mythology is not just history or belief. It is a mirror of human life itself, creation and destruction, longing and loss, wisdom and wonder. From Indus Valley seals to Vedic hymns, from epic battles to goddess song. It is a river that never stops flowing, carrying you deeper into its sacred waters. And as you drift upon it, you begin to sense that this mythology is not distant. It speaks softly, even now, inviting you to listen, to remember, to dream. Pillars of the cosmos. As you continue to rest within the current of ancient stories, the river of Hindu mythology carries you to the very foundations of its world. Here, beneath the shifting heavens, the universe rests upon pillars not of stone, but of eternal truth and divine presence. They are the guiding lights of myth, the concepts and deities that form the heart of this living tradition. At the very center is a truth so vast, so subtle, it cannot be bound by words. It is called Brahman. Not a god with a crown or a weapon, but the ultimate reality, the infinite, formless, timeless essence from which all things arise. Imagine standing at the shore of an endless ocean, so deep and so wide that no eye can see its farthest horizon. That is Brahman. Every god, every star, every creature is but a ripple upon its surface. And within you, too, a spark of this great ocean resides. That spark is called Atman, your soul, your truest self. In the hush of the Upanishads, the sages whisper, Atman is Brahman, the self is not separate from the cosmos, but one with it. This is the first pillar mystery beyond measure. Yet for the human heart, infinity is too distant. And so the boundless Brahman is understood through forms, through stories, through gods who walk among us. Chief among them is the sacred triad, the Trimurti, three great faces of the divine, each carrying out the rhythm of the cosmos. The first is Brahma the Creator. He brings forth the world, weaving the stars, shaping the earth-breathing life into beings. His four faces look out to the four directions, holding the Vedas, lotus rosary, and water pot symbols of knowledge, creation, and eternity. The second is Vishnu the Preserver, who guards the world, keeping harmony against chaos. He is serene, blue-skinned like the sky and sea, holding tonk, discus, lotus, and mace. He lies upon the cosmic serpent, Shesa, while the goddess Lakshmi sits beside him. When evil grows, Vishnu descends in avatars, Rama the noble prince, Krishna the playful cowherd and wise guide, and many others who restore Dharma. The third is Shiva the Destroyer and Transformer. But his destruction is not mere ruin, it is the clearing of what is old, the making of space for renewal. With his trident, his ash-covered body, and the third eye that burns with divine sight, Shiva dances the Tandava, the cosmic dance that ends one universe and begins another. He is both fierce and compassionate lord of ascetics, master of yoga, and protector against death's poison. Together, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva form the cycle of all things creation, preservation, and destruction, a rhythm without end. It is not three gods competing, but three powers flowing into each other as seasons follow one another, as day turns to night and night to dawn again. But the story does not end there. For beside these gods stand the great goddesses, the Tridevi, the triad of divine consorts. They are not merely companions, but the very energy, the Shakti that gives life to the gods. Without them, the Trimurti would be silent. The first is Saraswati, goddess of wisdom, knowledge, and the arts, beloved of Brahma. She shines in white garments, seated upon a swan holding a veena whose music awakens the mind. Wherever there is learning, creativity, and speech, her presence flows like a river. The second is Lakshmi, goddess of wealth, beauty, and prosperity, inseparable from Vishnu. She is radiant in red and gold, standing upon a lotus, pouring streams of golden coins into the hands of those who pray to her. She is the embodiment of grace, the promise of abundance, the light in households and kingdoms alike. The third is Parvati, daughter of the Himalayas and consort of Shiva. She is love and power, gentleness and ferocity, mother of Ganesha and Skanda, the goddess whose devotion united her with the wild ascetic god. In her, the energy of life itself is personified, without which even the gods cannot act. And so the pillars of Hindu mythology are not only gods but balances, the infinite Brahman and the personal deities, the male gods, and their female powers, the cycles of creation and destruction. The myths do not belong to a single god or goddess. They are a web of relationships and eternal dance. You feel the rhythm as you listen, the creator, the preserver, the destroyer, the goddess of wisdom, the goddess of prosperity, the goddess of energy, the infinite ocean of Brahman behind them all. This is the heart of Hindu mythology, not just stories of battles and miracles, but a vision of the cosmos itself, living and breathing, always in motion. And as your breath slows, you sense that these pillars are not far away. They are within you. Creation when you imagine, preservation when you hold steady, destruction when you let go, wisdom when you learn, prosperity when you flourish, energy when you love. The mythology is not outside, but within every heartbeat, every thought, every dream. Ages of the gods. As you drift deeper into the myths, you begin to notice how the faces of the gods change across the ages, like constellations that rise and fall in the night sky. Hindu mythology is not frozen in time. It grows, transforms, and reshapes itself with every new era, carrying the voices of countless generations. In the earliest dawn during the Vedic age, the gods were close to the earth, raw and elemental. They were not yet the richly adorned figures you see in temples today, but primal forces of nature that human beings lived with every day. You hear their names rising from ancient hymns: Indra, the thunderbolt wielder, fierce and mighty, slaying the serpent Vrtra to release the rivers and bring rain. To the people of that age he was king of the heavens, protector of warriors, the one who shattered drought and fed the land with water. Then there was Agni, the fire god, glowing at the heart of every home, every sacrifice, every ceremony. His flames rose upward, carrying prayers to the unseen worlds. and Varuna, vast and mysterious guardian of cosmic law, watching with his 1,000 eyes to ensure the universe stayed in order. Beside them danced Soma, the sacred drink, the elixir that lifted worshippers into ecstasy, said to grant visions of the gods themselves. In this Vedic world, the gods were both mighty and familiar. They were companions of daily life, tied to wind and rain, fire and sky. But as centuries passed, people sought stories that spoke not only of nature's power, but also of moral struggle, of love loss, and the great paths of destiny. So emerged the epic age. Now gods stepped back, and heroes came forward. The world was no longer only storms and flames, it was kingdoms, families, and choices. Out of this era rose the grand rivers of story, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. You see Rama, the noble prince, wandering in exile, guided by duty and honor, his wife Sita, shining like virtue itself, and Hanuman leaping across oceans in devotion. The gods watched, but it was the humans and their trials that filled the stage. And in the Mahabharata, the tale of cousins at war, you witness the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Arjuna trembles before his kin, and Krishna, an avatar of Vishnu, reveals the eternal song of the Bhagavad Gita. In these stories, gods do not vanish. They descend as guides, as incarnations, as voices of wisdom. Yet the central focus is the human heart, torn between dharma and desire, caught in the storm of life. And then comes the Puranic age, beginning around 300 CE, where mythology blossoms into the forms we know today. The elemental gods of the Vedas, once supreme, become background figures, while new faces shine brighter. Indra, once the king of gods, fades to a secondary role, his thunder still fierce, but no longer the highest power. In his place rise the great triad of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, whose stories weave through endless universes. Now Vishnu takes many avatars, appearing as a fish to save the world from flood, as a boar to lift the earth from the ocean, as Narasimha the Lion Man to tear apart a tyrant. He becomes Rama noble and just, and Krishna playful and wise, his flute drawing hearts with divine love. Shiva grows in both mystery and intimacy, lord of ascetics, yet also a family man, father of Ganesha and Kartikeya. The goddess too, once shadowed, rises in her many dazzling forms, Durga slaying demons, Kali dancing in wild fury, Parvati radiating love and energy. In this Puranic world, the myths are rich with color detail and devotion. Temples rise with stone carvings of gods and goddesses. Festivals blaze with fire and music, and prayers speak not only of survival, but of love, justice, and liberation. The stories are no longer only hymns of nature, nor only epic wars. They are worlds upon worlds where gods, humans, demons, and animals all play their roles. And so the ages of the gods move like great waves. First, the Vedic age roar with thunder and fire. Then the epic age filled with princes, queens, battles, and eternal lessons. Then the Puranic age, abundant with avatars, with goddesses fierce and gentle, with the rhythms of devotion that live even now. You breathe softly and realize that mythology, like life itself, is never still. It changes with those who tell it, and as it changes, it never dies. It only grows, branching into new shapes, whispering new meanings. The gods of the Vedas still flicker in fire and storm, the heroes of the epics still walk in memory, and the gods of the Puranas still bless prayers in temples. All are one great tapestry, woven across time, glowing in the eternal dance of creation, preservation, and transformation. And in the quiet as you drift, you sense that the ages of gods are also the ages of the human soul, beginning with awe before nature, then wrestling with choices and duty, and finally seeking devotion, wisdom, and liberation. The story of the gods is also the story of you. Brahma, the Creator's four faces. You drift deeper into the dream of myth, and before you rises a figure unlike any other. His skin glows with the light of eternity, his beard is white as moonlight, and his four faces turn gently toward the four directions, east, west, north, and south. This is Brahma the Creator, the first of the Trimurti, the god who brought forth the universe from silence and void. Legends of Brahma's birth are many, like streams that join into a river. Some say he was born from a lotus flower that sprouted from the navel of Vishnu as the great preserver lay upon the endless cosmic ocean. Others whisper that he emerged from a golden egg, the Hiranyagarbha, which cracked open to form the heavens above and the earth below. Another tale speaks of Brahma rising from the primordial waters, shaped by the breath of infinity itself. In each version, the truth is the same. Brahma appears at the dawn of creation, when the universe stirs awake from timeless sleep. Look closer, and you see how every detail of his being is woven with meaning. His four heads are not only the four directions, but also the four Vedas, Rig, Samayajur, and Atharva, the sacred scriptures that hold all knowledge of the cosmos. His four arms reach outward, each carrying symbols of his power. In one hand, a Veda representing wisdom, in another, a lotus symbol of purity and unfolding life. In the third, a rosary of beads marking the cycles of time. And in the fourth, a water pot filled with the cosmic waters of creation. Unlike Vishnu or Shiva, Brahma carries no weapons, for his role is not to fight or to end, but to shape and to begin. His mount is the swan Hamsa, gliding with grace across sky and water. The swan in Indian thought is said to be able to separate milk from water, symbolizing wisdom that discerns truth from illusion. Thus, Brahma astride his swan embodies clarity, knowledge, and divine understanding. There are tales that reveal not only his greatness but also his flaws. In one legend, Brahma and Vishnu once quarreled over who was the supreme god. To settle the dispute, Shiva appeared before them in the form of a colossal pillar of fire that reached beyond heaven and earth. Vishnu turned into a boar and dug deep into the earth to find the pillar's base, while Brahma flew upward in the form of a swan to find its top. Vishnu, after searching humbly, returned and admitted he could not find the end. But Brahma, unable to accept defeat, asked a flower falling from the sky to bear false witness that he had reached the pillar's summit. Shiva, seeing the lie, cursed Brahma so that he would have few temples dedicated to him. And indeed, while Vishnu and Shiva are worshipped in countless shrines across India, Brahma has only a handful, the most famous being at Pushkar in Rajasthan. Despite his rarity in temples, Brahma's presence lingers in the myths like the first light of dawn. He is the one who shaped the worlds, who gave form to gods and humans, who composed the rhythm of life and death. Some say he created not only the Vedas, but also the very act of speech, gifting language to humankind. He is the mind that dreamed the universe into being. One tale tells how Brahma, after creation, grew proud, gazing upon his own work. To humble him, Vishnu reminded Brahma that creation is not eternal, that after every age the universe dissolves back into silence, and Brahma himself must be reborn anew to create again. Thus Brahma's life is measured not in human years but in kalpas, cosmic ages of unimaginable length. At the end of each kalpa, all he has made will fade, and in the next dawn he will begin once more. Creation is never final, but an eternal cycle of beginnings. And yet, in the quiet of myth, Brahma is not feared or adored like Vishnu and Shiva. He is distant, almost forgotten, like the first note of a song that fades into the melody. But without that first note there could be no music. Without Brahma there could be no world at all. As you breathe slowly, you picture him, 4 serene faces, 4 hands, holding the gifts of knowledge, the swan carrying him across the infinite waters. He looks in every direction, seeing all beginnings, all possibilities. He does not rush for creation, is patient. Like the gentle unfolding of a lotus at dawn, he shapes the universe with calm and wisdom. And in his stillness you sense a reflection in yourself. Every time you create, whether a thought, a dream, or a new beginning, you mirror Brahma's act. The spark of creation is not far away. It lives in your imagination, in your ability to see something that was not there before and bring it into life. Just as Brahma fashioned the worlds, you too are a creator in small but sacred ways. The story of Brahma is the story of all beginnings. And as you drift deeper into this dream, you feel the gentle pull of creation itself guiding you toward the next great presence, the God who preserves all that Brahma has made. Vishnu, Preserver of worlds. The world has been created, the stars scattered like jewels across the sky, the rivers flowing the earth alive with sound and color. Yet creation alone is not enough. What is born must also be cared for, guarded against chaos, nurtured, so that balance is kept. And so from the ocean of eternity, you behold Vishnu, the great preserver who keeps the worlds from falling back into disorder. He is serene, his skin the deep blue of a summer sky, the color of the endless sea, boundless calm eternal. He lies upon the coils of Shesa, the 1,000-headed serpent, floating upon the cosmic ocean. His eyes are half closed, as if he dreams all the worlds into being, and yet in that dream the universe is kept steady. At his feet sits Lakshmi, goddess of prosperity, gently massaging his legs, the embodiment of grace and support. Vishnu's 4 hands each hold a sacred emblem, shimmering with meaning. In one a conch shell, Shankar, whose sound echoes the birth of creation. In another, the discus Sudarshana chakra, spinning like the wheel of time, blazing with light, his weapon against demons. In the third, a lotus flower, symbol of purity and unfolding existence. And in the fourth, a mace Kaumadakabhiti, representing strength and the power to protect Dharma, the order of the world. But Vishnu is not merely a distant guardian. Whenever the balance of the cosmos tips, whenever darkness grows and injustice threatens to swallow truth, Vishnu descends. He takes form born upon the earth, to guide, to rescue, to restore harmony. These incarnations are known as the avatars of Vishnu. There are said to be 10 great avatars, the Dashavatara, each appearing in different ages. In one tale, he comes first as a fish, warning Manu of a great flood, and guiding a boat that carried seeds of all life. In another, he becomes a tortoise, supporting the mountain used to churn the cosmic ocean when gods and demons sought the nectar of immortality. As a boar, he rescues the earth goddess, lifting her from the depths of the sea. As Narasimha, half-man and half-lion, he tears apart the demon Hiranyakashipu, who could not be slain by man or beast. Later, Vishnu comes as Vamana, a dwarf Brahmin, who humbles the prideful demon King Bali by taking 3 great strides that cover heaven, earth, and the underworld. He descends as Parashurama the warrior, with an axe to restore balance among corrupt kings. As Rama, he is the noble prince of Ayodhya, exiled to the forest, who battles the demon Ravana with the help of Hanuman and his army of monkeys, teaching the world the meaning of dharma and devotion. As Krishna Vishnu shines with unmatched brilliance, playful as a child, stealing butter, charming as the cowherd, whose flute enchanted the gopis, wise as the charioteer of Arjuna upon the battlefield of Kurukshetra. His words in the Bhagavad Gita are the eternal song of duty, faith, and surrender, reminding humankind that whenever darkness rises, the divine is always near. In the future, it is said Vishnu will return as Kalki, a rider upon a white horse, wielding a blazing sword, to end the current age of decline and restore righteousness before the cycle begins anew. But Vishnu is more than his avatars. His presence is everywhere, in the quiet river flowing through the forest, in the laughter of children, in the courage of a warrior, in the kindness of one who helps another. He preserves not only worlds but hearts, reminding humankind that in chaos there is always a thread of order, and in despair there is always hope. There are stories that reveal his boundless compassion. In one, the demon King Bali once ruled the 3 worlds with power and generosity. Though he was virtuous in many ways, his pride threatened the balance of the cosmos. Vishnu, as the dwarf Vamana, came to him and asked for as much land as he could cover in 3 steps. Bali agreed, and in a moment Vamana grew vast, covering the earth with 1 step, the heavens with the 2nd. With nowhere left to place his 3rd step, Bali bowed his head, and Vishnu set his foot upon it, sending the king to the underworld but granting him immortality as a guardian of its gates. In this story, even punishment becomes a blessing, and so Vishnu is loved not only as the preserver of cosmic law, but as the god who cares, who descends to protect, who never abandons the world. Among his devotees, he is not distant, but close worshipped in songs, festivals, and temples where lamps are lit and flowers are offered, where his name is sung with devotion, Om Namo Narayanaya. As you rest, you can almost hear the sound of his conch, a gentle vibration that clears away darkness. You see the spinning wheel of his discus, a circle without end. You see the calm blue of his skin like the ocean at twilight, endless and eternal. And you realize that Vishnu is not only a god in stories, but a presence within life itself. Every time harmony is restored after conflict, every time kindness outweighs cruelty, every time faith overcomes fear, Vishnu is there preserving what is good, keeping the world from falling into shadow. With Brahma, the universe began. With Vishnu, it is held safe, balanced, alive. And as you sink deeper into stillness, you sense the next turning of the cycle, the shadow of destruction that is also renewal. Beyond creation, beyond preservation, lies the power to end, to transform, to begin again. And so you drift toward the mountain caves and the sacred river, where the wild and eternal God awaits Shiva the Destroyer and Transformer, Shiva, Lord of Destruction and Renewal. The air grows cooler. You find yourself at the foot of the towering Himalayas, where snow peaks touch the heavens and rivers thunder down into valleys. Here, in a cave upon Mount Kailash, sits a figure in deep meditation. His skin is pale as ash, his hair knotted and flowing like wild rivers, a crescent moon resting in his locks. Around his neck coils a serpent, and upon his brow a third eye glows faintly closed for now, but holding within it the fire that can end worlds. This is Shiva, the great destroyer, the transformer, the lord of all opposites, fearsome and tender ascetic, and householder destroyer and protector. To many the word destroyer sounds fearful, yet Shiva's destruction is not chaos but renewal. Just as autumn leaves must fall to make way for spring, just as night must descend before dawn returns, Shiva clears what is worn and broken so that life may begin again. Without him, creation would stagnate, preservation would falter. His dance is the pulse of change itself. Look closely at him. His throat is blue, and Lakantha, the blue-throated one. The color comes from the time when gods and demons churned the ocean of milk to draw forth the nectar of immortality. From the depths rose treasures and wonders, but also a deadly poison, fierce enough to end all existence. None could bear it, and the cosmos trembled on the edge of ruin. But Shiva stepped forward. With compassion he swallowed the poison, holding it in his throat so it would harm no one else. The goddess Parvati, his beloved, pressed her hand gently to his neck to keep the venom from spreading, and so his throat turned blue. From that day he became the protector who bears the burden of the world's dangers. Shiva is often shown seated in silence, the supreme yogi, his mind turned inward, mastering senses and thought. Yet he is also the wild dancer Nataraja, who moves in a circle of fire, his steps shaking the earth, his rhythm the heartbeat of the universe. In one hand he holds the drum symbol of creation, in another the flame of destruction. With one gesture he dispels fear, with another he points to liberation. Around him burns the cosmic fire, and beneath his feet lies the demon of ignorance crushed by his dance. Though fierce, Shiva is also deeply loving. His marriage to Parvati is one of devotion and balance. He, the solitary ascetic who renounced the world, was won over by her dedication and love. Together they are the parents of Ganesha, the elephant-headed remover of obstacles, and Skanda, the warrior god. Through his family, Shiva is not only destroyer, but also father, husband, and nurturer, showing that divine power holds both wildness and tenderness. Shiva's body tells stories in symbols. The Ganga river flows from his matted hair, for when the celestial river descended with force enough to shatter the earth, Shiva caught her in his locks and let her trickle gently down, taming her strength. The trident in his hand represents the three aspects of time, past, present, and future, and his mastery over them. Ashes upon his skin remind the world of mortality, for all things return to dust. The crescent moon above his head marks the cycles of time, waxing and waning, endless and eternal. Yet Shiva is not only a figure of myth. He is worshipped across India and beyond, not always in human form, but often as the linga, a simple pillar of stone. To his devotees, this shape is not abstract. It is the symbol of pure, formless energy, the axis of creation, the still point around which the universe revolves. In temples, lamps flicker before the linga, water is poured upon it, flowers placed at its base, prayers rising in soft chants, Om Namah Shivaya. There are tales that reveal Shiva's unpredictable nature. In one story, his fiery wrath creates Kali, the fierce goddess, to battle demons that none else could defeat. In another, he burns with sorrow where his first wife Sati throws herself into the fire in protest of her father's insult. From his grief was born his terrible form, Rudra, storming across the heavens until the gods calmed him. Yet from his pain also rose Renewal, Sati reborn as Parvati returning to him in love. Shiva is called Mahadeva, the great god, by those who see in him the highest reality. His followers, the Saivites, worship him not only as destroyer, but as the source of all being. To them he is not one part of a triad, but the supreme whole, the silent ground of existence itself. As you picture him sitting in stillness upon the snowy mountain, you realize that Shiva is more than myth. He is the power of endings that open doors to beginnings. He is the silence that follows sound, the night that cradles the dawn, the fire that clears the path for growth. He is death, but also the life that rises beyond it. And as your breath softens, you feel Shiva's presence not as terror, but as release. Each time you let go of what no longer serves you, each time you shed old grief, each time you accept change and begin anew, you echo Shiva's dance. He lives not only in the mountains, but in the rhythm of your own heart, beating in time with the universe's eternal pulse. The story of Shiva is the story of transformation itself. And as you rest, you feel the balance of the Trimurti Brahma, creating, Vishnu preserving, and Shiva renewing through destruction. Yet where would these gods be without their divine companions, the goddesses who are wisdom, wealth, and power? Soon you drift toward Saraswati, goddess of knowledge, who waits with her veena, ready to fill the silence with song. Saraswati, goddess of knowledge and music, the roar of Shiva's dance fades into quiet. Out of the silence comes the soft sound of strings being plucked, gentle and flowing like ripples across still water. You turn, and there she is, Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom, art, and speech. She sits upon a pure white lotus, her sari as white as moonlight, her face serene, her forearms moving with elegance. In one hand she holds a veena, the ancient instrument whose notes weave music into the fabric of the world. In another she carries a book symbol of knowledge. Her third hand holds a rosary, marking the rhythm of meditation and prayer, while the fourth raises in blessing. Beside her glides the swan, her mount, the bird of clarity and discernment. Saraswati is the consort of Brahma the Creator, and like him, she is bound to beginnings. If Brahma shaped the world, it is Saraswati who gave it language, song, and wisdom so that creation would not be mute, but alive with meaning. To the people of India, she is not only a goddess in temples, but a presence wherever learning happens, in the whisper of students, reciting lessons in the brush of a painter's stroke, in the soft chant of poetry sung at dusk. Her name itself flows like water. Saras means lake and Vati means she who possesses. She is the goddess of rivers, her spirit moving like streams of clarity. Long ago the river Saraswati flowed across northern India, nourishing civilizations. Though the river has dried, her memory remains a symbol of hidden knowledge that may vanish from sight but still nourishes deep within. There are stories of her birth. Some say she sprang from Brahma's mind, a manifestation of wisdom to complete his act of creation. Others tell she was born from the sea, radiant and pure. However she came, she has always been the voice that speaks truth, the melody that carries memory, the intelligence that guides discovery. And yet Saraswati is not only gentle. In some tales her sharpness is revealed. Once, when the gods prepared for a great sacrifice, Saraswati demanded that all rituals be performed perfectly, refusing to accept errors. Her exactness angered the others, yet it reminded them that wisdom without discipline is easily lost. She is grace, but also precision. In daily life, her presence is cherished in festivals such as Vasant Pankam, when children take their first steps in learning tracing letters in the sand under her blessing. On this day, books, instruments, and tools of study are laid before her image, decorated with flowers as prayers rise for clarity of mind and brilliance of thought. Schools and colleges across India still honor her, asking her to remove ignorance like the sun dispels the mist of morning. Sarasvati's purity is reflected in her white garments. Unlike Lakshmi, who shines in red and gold, Sarasvati's beauty is quiet without ornament, untouched by desire. She does not bring wealth or pleasure, but wisdom and art, gifts that are subtle yet everlasting. A person may lose riches, but knowledge endures. A kingdom may fall, but song and poetry echo long after. Sarasvati embodies this timeless truth. In paintings and temples, you often see her seated beside the swan. The swan in Indian thought is famed for its mythical ability to separate milk from water, a symbol of discernment, the power to distinguish truth from illusion, wisdom from ignorance. Thus, Sarasvati is not only the giver of knowledge, but the guide who helps one see what is real and lasting. There is a story that reveals her tender closeness to music. Long ago, the gods sought a way to give humans joy beyond survival. Sarasvati picked up the veena, and from its strings poured the first melody. Rivers, birds, and winds fell silent to listen. From that day, music became not just sound, but prayer, a way of touching the divine. Even now, when a musician sits with their instrument invoking Sarasvati, it is said the goddess listens, her invisible hand guiding the rhythm and tone. Her worship is not confined to temples. She lives in libraries, in classrooms, in songs sung beneath the stars. Students whisper her name before examinations. Writers bow to her before putting ink to paper. Artists place flowers before her image, asking her to bless their hands. For to remember, Sarasvati is to remember that learning and art are sacred paths no less holy than prayer or meditation. And as you breathe softly, you realize that Sarasvati's gift is not distant from you. Each time you learn something new, each time you find words to express your heart, each time a song moves you to tears, you touch her presence. She is the quiet inspiration behind creativity, the whisper of wisdom in a moment of clarity. In this way, Sarasvati holds the universe together not by strength or wealth, but by meaning. She is the one who ensures that creation is understood, that knowledge is passed down, that beauty softens even the hardest of lives. Without her, the world would be mute and empty. With her, it sings, and as her veena fades into silence, you are carried gently onward to the next goddess Lakshmi. Golden and radiant, the bringer of prosperity and abundance, whose hands pour endless streams of fortune upon the earth. Lakshmi, goddess of prosperity. The soft notes of Sarasvati's veena fade into silence, and in their place comes the gentle chime of bells and the glow of golden light. You see lotus blossoms opening across a calm lake, their petals shining as if kissed by the sun. From the heart of one lotus rises a radiant goddess, her eyes calm, her smile serene, her garments red and gold. Coins of light stream from her hands, falling like blessings upon the earth. White elephants stand on either side, pouring water in endless streams. This is Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, beauty, and abundance, the one who makes life flourish. Lakshmi is the beloved consort of Vishnu, the Preserver, and wherever he goes, she follows, bringing prosperity to the worlds he protects. In temples, she is seen seated at his side, gently massaging his feet as he reclines upon the serpent Shesa. But she is no mere attendant, she is his power, his Shakti, without which even the Preserver cannot act. Together they embody harmony, Vishnu preserves order, and Lakshmi ensures it blossoms with wealth, joy, and beauty. Her birth is told in stories filled with wonder. When the gods and demons churned the cosmic ocean for nectar, countless treasures rose from the depths. Among them was Lakshmi, radiant beyond compare, seated upon a lotus holding another lotus in her hand. The gods, awed by her beauty and grace, welcomed her with songs. She chose Vishnu as her eternal companion, binding prosperity and preservation forever together. Lakshmi's image is filled with meaning. Her red garments represent activity and energy, while her golden ornaments symbolize wealth that shines outward and inward. Her 4 arms hold the 4 aims of life cherished in Hindu thought: Dharma, righteousness; Artha, prosperity; Kama, desire; and joy and moksha, liberation. From her palms golden coins fall endlessly, for she gives freely to those who honor her. At her feet the lotus blossoms remind us that true prosperity, like the lotus, rises unstained from the mud of life, pure and beautiful even in hardship. Her presence is celebrated most vividly during Darpaval, the festival of lights. On that night homes are cleaned and decorated, lamps lit at every doorway, prayers offered to Lakshmi to invite her grace. It is said she enters only the cleanest, brightest, and most welcoming homes, blessing them with wealth and happiness for the year to come. The glow of thousands of lamps reflects her own radiance, reminding all that light conquers darkness, prosperity follows devotion, and beauty shines where faith is present. Yet Lakshmi's wealth is not only gold or gems. She is also the abundance of the earth, the harvest of fields, the sweetness of fruit, the coolness of water. She is beauty itself, the sparkle in the eyes of a loved one, the harmony of music, the grace of a flower. Prosperity is not only possession but fullness of life, and Lakshmi embodies that wholeness. But she is also fickle like the tides of fortune. Stories tell of how Lakshmi may favor one king today and another tomorrow, how wealth flows and fades, never fixed. To keep her blessings one must honor her, not with greed, but with respect, generosity, and devotion. For wealth misused is wealth lost, and Lakshmi does not dwell where arrogance or cruelty reign. There are tales of her compassion too. In one, a poor devotee cleaned her little hut and lit a lamp to welcome Lakshmi, though she had no riches to offer. Moved by the woman's devotion, Lakshmi blessed her home with unending grain enough to feed her family and neighbors alike. In this way, the goddess teaches that prosperity is not measured only by what you keep, but by what you share. Her white elephants, symbols of strength and royalty, also tell a story. Long ago, Indra, king of the gods, lost his wealth and power due to pride. When Lakshmi rose from the ocean during the churning, she restored balance, bringing with her the elephants of rain and abundance. Where the elephants pour water, the land is fertile, the rivers flow and crops grow in plenty. Thus Lakshmi's blessing is both celestial and earthly. As you breathe slowly, you realize that Lakshmi's gift is not only for kings and temples, but for every life. She is present when a seed grows into a tree, when a family shares a meal, when kindness makes hearts flourish. Prosperity is not only wealth, but the richness of love, community, and beauty. To call upon Lakshmi is to invite not just money, but fullness of being, harmony of life. Her devotees sing hymns to her, praising her as the lotus-eyed, the ever-giving, the bringer of fortune. They ask not only for riches, but for wisdom, to use them well, for strength, to be generous, for peace, to enjoy what they have. For true wealth lies not in possession, but in balance, and Lakshmi teaches that lesson with grace. As the golden light fades, you see her coins flow back into the earth, her lotus closing with the night. She remains quiet and radiant beside Vishnu, guarding prosperity as he guards the world. And as you drift onward, the story leads you to another goddess, gentle yet fierce, mountain-born, the energy of life itself. She is Parvati, the daughter of the Himalayas and beloved wife of Shiva, Parvati, source of life's energy. The golden light of Lakshmi's blessings fades into the hush of mountains. You hear the whisper of wind weaving through snowy peaks, the low murmur of rivers born of glaciers, and the steady heartbeat of the earth itself. From this sacred silence emerges a goddess of warmth and power, the daughter of the Himalayas, Parvati, the gentle yet mighty source of life's energy. Parvati is the second consort of Shiva, the fierce destroyer. Yet she is also his balance, his harmony, his heart. She is the goddess of love and devotion, the patient strength that tames even Shiva's wild asceticism. Without her, the stories say the universe would wither, for she is Shakti, the divine energy itself, the force that animates all existence. Where Shiva is potential, Parvati is the power that makes potential real. Her story begins with longing and devotion. In her earlier life, she was Sati, the devoted daughter of Daksha and the first wife of Shiva. Yet her father despised Shiva, mocking him as a wild ascetic, unworthy of his daughter. When Daksha held a grand sacrifice and refused to invite Shiva, Sati, unable to bear the insult, cast herself into the fire. Grief consumed Shiva, who roamed the universe in fury, carrying her lifeless body until Vishnu's discus cut it into many sacred pieces, each falling upon the earth as a Shakti Pitha, a holy site still worshipped today. But love does not vanish. In her next birth, Sati returned as Parvati, daughter of Himavat, the king of mountains, and Mena, his queen. From childhood, Parvati was drawn to Shiva, her heart set upon him with unshakable devotion. Yet Shiva, lost in meditation, cared nothing for marriage or the world. Determined, Parvati performed fierce austerities, fasting, meditating, standing upon one leg for years to prove her love and win his attention. The gods themselves supported her, for only through their union could balance be restored to the universe. At last, Shiva's heart softened and he accepted her as his wife. Their marriage, celebrated in celestial splendor, became the union of spirit and energy, silence and devotion, destruction and creation. Parvati is often shown seated beside Shiva upon Mount Kailash, serene and loving her presence, a calming counter to his wildness. Together they are not only husband and wife, but cosmic principles. In some images they are even merged into a single form, Ardhanarishvara, half Shiva and half Parvati, showing that masculine and feminine, ascetic and worldly, cannot exist without each other. As Mother Parvati is tender and kind, she is the mother of Ganesha, the elephant-headed god of wisdom, and Kartikeya, the youthful warrior god. Yet her motherhood also carries strength. She is protector of children and families, giver of vitality and well-being. Her worshippers see her as the source of nourishment, not only of bodies, but of spirits, giving courage and devotion in life's struggles. But Parvati is not always gentle. Within her reside many forms fierce as well as kind. When danger threatens, she transforms into Durga, the warrior goddess who slays demons with weapons in her many arms. At times, she becomes Kali, dark and wild, dancing upon battlefields, destroying evil with terrifying strength. These forms remind us that love, when tested, becomes power. Gentleness, when needed, becomes fierce protection. Symbols surround Parvati. In some images, she rides a tiger or lion, showing that beneath her calm lies immense strength. Her 4 or 8 arms carry flowers and rosaries when she is peaceful, but weapons when she is fierce. She wears jewels, but her greatest adornment is her smile, said to comfort even the most troubled heart. Her worship is widespread. Women pray to her for happy marriages, for children, for strength in times of hardship. Festivals such as Tej in Nepal and northern India celebrate her devotion to Shiva, with women fasting and praying for the well-being of their husbands. To her devotees, she is the ideal wife, the devoted mother, the powerful goddess one who listens to prayers with compassion. One tale tells of how even the gods sought her aid. When the demon Tarakasura gained power that only the son of Shiva could defeat, it was Parvati who won Shiva's love and bore Kartikeya, who grew into the warrior destined to slay the demon. In this way, her devotion and determination saved the cosmos. As you breathe softly, you feel her presence as both tender and strong. She is love that does not yield, devotion that endures even against the impossible. She is the energy that stirs within you when you rise again. After hardship, the patience that keeps you steady, the fire that makes you act with courage. Parvati reminds us that energy is not only movement but also stillness, not only gentleness but also strength. She is the hidden current beneath all life, the power that makes the universe dance. Without her, even Shiva himself would remain in meditation, silent and unmoving. With her, the cosmos comes alive, and as the snowy peaks fade into mist, you hear the sound of drums of weapons, clashing of a lion's roar. Parvati's form begins to change, her eyes fierce, her arms many, her power blazing. She is no longer only the gentle wife, but the warrior goddess who destroys demons. You are entering the realm of Durga, the mother and protector who rides into battle for the sake of the world. Durga, warrior mother. The snowy stillness of Parvati's presence begins to shift. You hear the low rumble of a lion, its roar echoing across the heavens. The air trembles, and before you appears a dazzling form, radiant as the sun, fierce as a storm. Her many arms stretch wide, each holding a weapon, trident, sword, bow, mace, discus, and conch. Her eyes blaze with power, yet her face is calm, like a mother protecting her child. This is Durga, the warrior mother born from Parvati's energy, summoned to defend the world against the forces of evil. The story of Durga begins with a terrible demon named Mahishasura, the buffalo demon. Through intense penance, he gained a boon that no man or god could kill him. Empowered, he waged war against the heavens, defeating gods, driving them from their thrones, spreading terror across the worlds. The gods, desperate and powerless, turned to the great triad Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. In their fury, each released a blaze of energy. From these divine fires merged a single radiant form, the goddess Durga, embodiment of all their power, fierce yet beautiful, motherly yet invincible. Seated upon a lion, she rode into battle. The clash between Durga and Mahishasura shook the heavens, For 9 nights they fought Durga's weapons, striking with precision the demon shifting forms from buffalo to elephant to lion, but never able to overcome her. At last, when Mahishasura returned to his buffalo form, Durga thrust her trident into his chest, ending his tyranny. The gods rejoiced, and ever since she has been worshipped as the slayer of Mahishasura, the protector of worlds, the victory of good over evil. Her triumph is celebrated each year in the festival of Navratri, 9 nights of devotion, dance and fasting, where her many forms are honored. The 10th day, Vijayadashami, marks her victory, when idols of Durga are immersed in rivers symbolizing her return to the divine realm, leaving behind her blessings. In Bengal, her worship fills the streets with music, color, and lights as families gather to honor the mother who defends them from harm. Durga's image is one of paradox. She is fierce, armed with weapons, riding a lion or tiger into battle. Yet she is also motherly, gentle, the one who blesses her children with love. She is the balance of strength and compassion, reminding humanity that protection sometimes requires power, that love sometimes fights for what it holds dear. Her weapons each carry meaning. The trident gift of Shiva pierces through ignorance. The discus from Vishnu destroys arrogance. The bow and arrow symbolize energy and potential, the power to release and to restrain. The conch shell calls forth the divine sound, scattering fear. The sword cuts through falsehood, and the mace represents strength that defends truth. In her many arms she carries the gifts of all gods, uniting their powers in one being. Durga is not only the slayer of demons, but the guardian of order. When the balance of the world tilts, when arrogance rises, she appears. She is called by many names: Mahadev, the great goddess; Shakti, the energy of the cosmos; Ambika, the mother. To her devotees, she is both fierce protector and tender caretaker, always present when needed most. There are other stories that reveal her depth. In one tale, 2 demons named Shumba and Nishumba seized power over the heavens. Again, Durga appeared radiant and unshakable. When their armies surrounded her, she laughed, and from her brow sprang Kali, her darker form, wild and terrifying. Together they destroyed the demons, restoring peace once more. These stories remind us that Durga is not separate from Parvati, Lakshmi, or Saraswati, but the united force of all goddesses. The Devi Mahatmya calls her the sum of divine feminine power. As you breathe softly, you can almost see her lion stride across the battlefield, hear the clash of her weapons, feel the wind of her movement. Yet you also feel her tenderness, like a mother's hand resting upon her child's head. This duality is her gift: to protect fiercely, but to love completely. In daily life, Durga is called upon not only in times of war, but in moments of personal struggle. Devotees pray to her when they face obstacles, when fear clouds the heart, when injustice seems too strong. Her blessing is courage, her gift is strength to endure and to act. She reminds us that within every person lies a spark of her power, the ability to face hardship, to resist wrong, to protect what is sacred. Durga's presence spreads far beyond temples. She lives in the determination of those who fight for justice, in the courage of mothers defending their children, in the resilience of people rising after loss. She is the roar that drives away despair, the light that cuts through darkness, the love that stands firm against cruelty. And as you rest, you realize that Durga's story is not only about slaying demons on battlefields. The demons she destroys also live within arrogance, greed, ignorance, fear. To call upon Durga is to ask for strength to defeat these inner enemies, to emerge victorious not only in the world, but in the heart. Her lion roars one last time, fading into silence. The weapons dissolve into light, and Durga's fierce form softens once again. From her new tales unfold, for the gods and goddesses take many forms. Ahead, you see the gentle glow of an elephant-headed figure, belly round, eyes kinda sweet in his hand, a mouse by his side. You are about to meet Ganesha, remover of obstacles, beloved of all, Ganesha, lord of beginnings. The battlefield of Durga fades into quiet, and in its place comes the sound of laughter, light, warm, childlike. A small figure appears, round-bellied and joyful, his head that of an elephant, his trunk curling with playfulness. In one hand he holds a sweet, in another a broken tusk. At his feet sits a tiny mouse gazing up at him with devotion. This is Ganesha, beloved son of Shiva and Parvati, the remover of obstacles, the patron of wisdom, success, and new beginnings. No god in Hindu mythology is as widely loved as Ganesha. His image appears at doorways, in temples, on walls, and charms even in humble homes and shops. Before a journey, a business, a prayer, or a celebration, devotees whisper his name, Shri Ganeshaya Namah. For to call upon Ganesha is to clear the path ahead, to ask for blessings before stepping into the unknown. The story of his birth is filled with tenderness and sorrow. One day, while Shiva was away, Parvati wished for a guardian who would protect her privacy. From the turmeric paste she used for her bath, she shaped a boy, breathed life into him, and set him at her door. When Shiva returned and tried to enter, the boy blocked his way, not knowing who he was. Furious at being denied, Shiva struck off the boy's head with his weapon. When Parvati saw her son lifeless, her grief shook the heavens. She demanded that he be restored, or she would dissolve the universe itself. To soothe her, Shiva sent his attendants to find the head of the first creature they saw facing north. They returned with the head of an elephant, which Shiva placed upon the boy's body. With new life, Ganesha awoke, and Shiva embraced him as his son. From then on he was honored as the remover of obstacles, the god who blesses all beginnings. Ganesha's image carries many meanings. His elephant head symbolizes wisdom and strength, while his large ears show his readiness to listen. His small eyes teach focus, his curved trunk shows adaptability. His round belly holds the universe, past, present, and future, and also reminds us of his love for sweets. In his hands he carries objects full of symbolism, a lotus for purity, a modaka sweet dumpling for joy, a broken tusk as a tool of writing, for he is said to have penned the Mahabharata itself at Vyasa's dictation. The broken tusk also teaches resilience, that even in imperfection lies greatness. At his feet scurries the mouse, his unlikely mount. The mouse symbolizes desires, small, restless, often gnawing at the heart. By riding the mouse, Ganesha shows mastery over desire, turning what could destroy into a vehicle of wisdom. The image is playful yet profound. Even the smallest creature can carry the greatest god. There are many charming tales of Ganesha's cleverness. Once the gods held a contest to decide who could circle the universe the fastest. While his brother Kartikeya mounted his peacock and flew across the heavens, Ganesha simply walked around his parents, Shiva and Parvati, declaring that they were his universe. Pleased with his wisdom, they awarded him the prize. In another story, the moon mocked Ganesha for his large belly. Angered, he broke off one tusk and hurled it at the moon, cursing it so that it would wax and wane, never whole again. Even in play, his actions shaped the cosmos. Ganesha is also known as the god of learning and writing. Sages tell how, when the great poet Vyasa wished to dictate the Mahabharata, he sought Ganesha to be his scribe. Ganesha agreed on one condition, that Vyasa never pause in his recitation. Vyasa in turn demanded that Ganesha understand every verse before writing it down. Thus began the telling of the epic, with Ganesha's tusk as his pen, his wisdom guiding each word. Festivals devoted to him light up India with colour and devotion. Ganesha Chaturth, celebrated with processions, songs and offerings of sweets, honours his presence. Clay idols of Ganesha are installed in homes and temples, worshipped for days, then immersed in rivers, symbolizing his return to the divine waters. As chants of Ganapati Bappa Moria rise, hearts are filled with joy, for Ganesha is not a distant god, but a friendly companion, a guardian who walks with his devotees. His blessings are sought not only for grand endeavors, but for everyday struggles. Students pray to him before exams, merchants before opening shops, travelers before a journey. He is the god of thresholds, the one who opens doors and clears the unseen obstacles that lie ahead. As you rest, you feel the comfort of his presence. His laughter lightens burdens, his wisdom clears confusion, his blessings bring confidence. He is not only the remover of obstacles, but also the one who teaches that obstacles themselves are teachers. Each challenge is an opportunity to grow, to learn, to become stronger. And with Ganesha beside you, no path is ever truly blocked. The image fades, the sweets, the mouse, the broken tusk, glowing like stars before your eyes. Ahead, you sense a softer light, the fragrance of spring flowers and the flutter of wings. It is the arrival of Kama, the radiant god of love, whose arrows stir the heart and awaken desire. Kama, god of desire. The laughter of Ganesha fades, and in its place comes the soft rustle of petals and the hum of bees in spring. The air is fragrant with jasmine, warm with sunlight, alive with songbirds. Out of this garden of sweetness appears a radiant youth, his skin luminous, his eyes bright with charm. He holds a bow, not of steel, but of sugarcane strung with a line of buzzing bees. At his side rests a quiver of arrows, tipped not with iron, but with flowers jasmine, mango, blossom, blue, lotus. Wherever these arrows land, hearts awaken to love. This is Kama, the god of desire, the one who stirs longing and passion in all beings. Kama is not a warrior like Indra, nor a sage like Shiva. His strength is gentle, invisible, yet irresistible. With his arrows he can make even the hardest hearts melt, the most disciplined sages tremble, the most distant souls draw near. He is the whisper of attraction, the blush of love, the warmth of companionship. Without him the world would be cold and empty. With him it blossoms with joy, families and beauty. His story is intertwined with both joy and sorrow. Once the gods were desperate. A mighty demon named Tarakasura could only be defeated by the son of Shiva. But Shiva, lost in deep meditation after the loss of Sati, ignored the world. The gods turned to Kama, begging him to awaken Shiva's heart so that he might love again and father the child destined to save them. Bravely Kama approached the meditating god. From his bow he drew an arrow tipped with a fragrant blossom and released it into Shiva's heart. For a moment Shiva stirred his mind, turning toward the mountain-born goddess Parvati, who sat nearby in devotion. Love flickered, the plan seemed to work, but Shiva's third eye opened blazing with fire. In his fury at being disturbed, he burned Kama to ashes. The gods mourned, and Rati, Kama's devoted wife, wept endlessly. Yet from her grief came mercy. Shiva restored karma, but not in body. He returned only as Ananga, the bodiless one, invisible without form, yet ever present. Thus desire lives on unseen yet felt by all, moving like the wind, impossible to capture, yet always near. Kama is often shown riding a parrot, the bird of love, symbolizing sweetness and playful chatter. Sometimes he is accompanied by the season of spring Vasanta, who surrounds him with blossoms and breezes, and by a retinue of graceful nymphs. His presence is felt most in springtime itself, when flowers bloom and hearts quicken. His wife Rati, whose very name means passion, is his eternal companion. She embodies the tenderness and fire of love, complementing his playful charm. Together they remind the world that desire is not only longing but also connection, partnership and joy. Kama's arrows are subtle yet powerful. A single glance, a smile, a touch, these are his weapons. He teaches that desire itself is neither good nor evil. It is a force of life. It can bind one to worldly pleasures, but it can also inspire beauty, art devotion, and even spiritual awakening. For love, when guided by wisdom, becomes a path to the divine. In some traditions, Kama is linked with Vishnu, said to be the son of Vishnu and Lakshmi, carrying their beauty and grace. His brightness, his youth, his irresistible charm reflect their qualities. In others, he is seen simply as the personification of desire, as natural and eternal as the rhythm of the seasons. His worship is quieter than that of the great gods, yet his presence is felt everywhere. Lovers whisper prayers to him, poets invoke him in verses of longing, families honor him as the source of harmony and affection. In festivals like Vasant Pankam, his spirit is celebrated in the joy of spring, in colors, songs, and dances. There is another tale that reveals his playful nature. Once Kama boasted that his arrows could conquer anyone. To test him, the sage Narada warned him not to disturb Shiva again, but Kama laughed, declaring that no being god or human was beyond his reach. As he prepared his bow, a sudden gust of Shiva's fiery glance reminded him of his past mistake. Trembling, Kama remembered that desire must always be balanced with respect and power with humility. As you breathe softly, you sense Kama's presence all around you. He is in the sweetness of blossoms, in the song of birds at dawn, in the quiet stirrings of the heart when love begins. His gift is the warmth that binds beings together, that fills life with joy, that makes the world not only survive, but flourish. And yet his story also reminds us that desire unchecked can burn. It must be guided by wisdom tempered with devotion, as Rati guides Kama as spring is balanced by winter. For love is a flame, warming when nurtured, consuming when uncontrolled. The garden fades into flowing water. You hear the rush of a great river, mighty and eternal, carrying countless souls upon its current. From its waves rises a goddess, clad in white, crowned with flowers, her hands holding a water lily. This is Ganga, the goddess of the sacred Ganges, purifier of sins, liberator of souls. Ganga, goddess of the sacred river. The fragrance of blossoms fades, replaced by the sound of rushing waters. You open your eyes and see before you a mighty river, glistening under the sun, flowing endlessly across plains and valleys. Its waters sparkle like liquid silver, carrying life to fields, villages, and cities. Rising from its waves, serene and radiant, is a goddess clothed in white, her crown adorned with water lilies, her hands holding a lotus and a lute. By her side swims a divine crocodile, her mount. This is Ganga, the goddess of the sacred Ganges, purifier of sins, mother of rivers, and liberator of souls. For Hindus, the Ganges is not merely water, it is the breath of heaven upon the earth. To bathe in her is to be cleansed of sins. To sip her waters is to taste immortality. To scatter ashes upon her currents is to free the soul from the cycle of birth and death. She is not only a river but a path to liberation, flowing between heaven and earth as a bridge for all beings. The stories of her origin shimmer with divine wonder. Some say she was born from the water pot of Brahma when he washed the feet of Vishnu, the drops falling and becoming the river goddess. Others tell how she was created from Brahma's Kamandalu, a vessel of sacred water to purify the world. In every tale she begins in the heavens, a celestial stream of purity, too powerful for the earth to bear. Her descent to the world is one of the great legends. Long ago, King Sagara performed a sacrifice, sending his 60,000 sons to guard a horse across the earth. When the horse vanished, they accused the sage Kapila of theft. Enraged by their insult, the sage reduced them all to ashes. Only the descent of the sacred Ganga could purify their souls and free them from bondage. Generations later, King Bhagiratha undertook fierce penance to bring her down from heaven to earth. Moved by his devotion, Brahma agreed but warned that the earth could not withstand Ganga's mighty force. So Bhagiratha turned to Shiva, who stood upon the mountains in meditation. When Ganga poured down from the heavens in a torrent fierce enough to shatter the world, Shiva caught her in his matted hair, taming her strength, letting her flow gently in streams across the earth. Thus she became known as Bhagirathi in honor of the king whose devotion brought her down. Even today, pilgrims remember this tale when they speak of Ganga as the river of mercy descended by devotion, guided by Shiva's grace. Ganga's stories do not end there. She once walked the earth in human form as the wife of King Shantanu of Hastinapura. Their union gave birth to Bhishma, the noble warrior of the Mahabharata, who chose a life of sacrifice to honor his father's love. Through him, Ganga's lineage flows into one of the greatest epics of India, reminding us that the river goddess is woven not only into the landscape but into the fabric of history itself. To her devotees, Ganga is more than myth. She is present every dawn when pilgrims gather at her banks to bathe, to pray, to release offerings of lamps and flowers that float upon her current. Her waters are carried in brass vessels to distant shrines, sprinkled at weddings, poured upon sacred idols. Even in distant lands, a few drops of Ganga water are treasured, for they carry her sanctity wherever they go. Her power lies not only in purification, but in compassion. In tales, she is sometimes proud, even fierce, but always yielding to devotion. When she first descended, she threatened to flood the earth in anger, but Shiva tamed her, and Bhagiratha guided her to the ashes of his ancestors. Her mercy restored their souls, proving that even the heaviest burden of sin can be lifted by her touch. In art, she is shown graceful and radiant, seated upon a crocodile, her hands offering water lilies, her presence both majestic and soothing. Her white garments symbolize purity, her flowing hair, the eternal streams, her gentle smile, the hope she brings to those who seek her. Festivals in her honor fill the riverbanks with devotion. During Ganga Dussehra, devotees believe that bathing in her waters cleanses 10 lifetimes of sins. During Kumbh Mela, millions gather where Ganga meets the Yamuna and the mythical Saraswati, plunging into the confluence to seek liberation. These gatherings, vast as oceans of humanity, echo with chants, drums, and bells, yet beneath the noise flows a current of peace, the timeless presence of the goddess herself. As you rest, you realize that Ganga is not only a river in India, but a symbol of life itself. She teaches that just as water flows endlessly, so too does mercy. Just as rivers cleanse, so too can the spirit be purified. To bathe in her is to begin anew, to let go of burdens, to feel the freshness of another dawn. Her waters shimmer one last time, carrying lamps and prayers into the night. As she fades, the sound of drums grows louder, the rhythm quickens, and the sky darkens. A fierce figure appears, necklace of skulls, sword in hand, her tongue red, her eyes blazing. This is Kala, the dark mother born of Durga's wrath, the goddess of time and transformation, Kali, dark mother of time. The gentle current of the Ganga fades, and in its place rises the beat of drums, fierce and unrelenting. The air grows heavy, the sky darkens, and the earth trembles beneath your feet. Out of the shadows a figure emerges, wild hair, flying tongue red, and long eyes blazing with unstoppable fury. Around her neck hangs a garland of skulls, at her waist a belt of severed arms. In one hand she holds a dripping sword, in another the head of a slain demon. Yet though her form is terrifying, her power protects the world. This is Kala, the dark mother, the goddess of time, death, and transformation. Kala was born from the rage of the goddess Durga. When demons threatened the balance of the cosmos, Durga's fury burst forth as Kali, black as night, unstoppable, the embodiment of destruction. She charged into battle, her laughter echoing like thunder, cutting down armies of demons with ease. One of the fiercest of these demons was Raktabja, whose blood carried strange magic. Each drop that fell to the ground created another demon like himself. As Durga struck him, his blood spilled, multiplying his army until the battlefield swarmed with endless clones. But Kala was relentless. She spread her tongue wide, drinking every drop of blood before it could touch the earth. With each strike she consumed the clones, until at last Raktabja was no more. Her fury, however, was not easily stopped. Overcome with bloodlust, she danced across the battlefield, destroying everything in sight, shaking the worlds with her terrible steps. None could calm her, not gods, not sages, until Shiva himself lay down before her. When Kala stepped upon her beloved, her rage broke. Realizing what she had done, she stopped her dance, her tongue protruding in shame. Thus she is often shown standing upon Shiva's still body, a symbol of her unstoppable power, but also of her ability to be tamed by love. Though fearsome in form, Kala is not evil. She is the goddess who destroys only to protect, who ends only to renew. Her necklace of skulls is not cruelty, but truth, the reminder that all beings are mortal, that time consumes all. Her belt of arms is not horror, but justice, the sign that karma spares none. Her darkness is not emptiness, but the womb of rebirth, for from her fierce embrace new life always emerges. Her name itself means time, and indeed she is time personified, unceasing, inescapable, both mother and devourer. Just as night follows day, just as years pass and bodies age, Kali shows that nothing lasts forever. To those who cling to power or wealth, her presence is terror. But to those who seek liberation, she is the merciful mother who frees them from illusion and ego. Devotees across India worship her not with fear, but with devotion. In Bengal, during the festival of Kali Puja, homes are lit with lamps. Offerings of sweets and flowers are placed at her feet, and prayers rise for protection and release. In cremation grounds, ascetics meditate upon her, seeing in her the truth that death is not the end but a doorway. Her worship is intense, for she is not a gentle goddess of comfort, but one who demands surrender, who strips away attachments, who reveals the raw essence of the soul. There is another story that shows her tender side. Once she appeared before a devotee named Ramakrishna, who worshipped her not in fear, but in love. To him she was not the terrifying destroyer, but the compassionate mother. In visions he saw her smiling, radiant, nurturing. Through him, many learned that Kala is not only the goddess of terror, but also the mother who embraces her children with unconditional love. Her black skin, far from symbolizing darkness of evil, represents the vastness of infinity. Just as the night sky holds countless stars, her form holds all creation within it. Her wild hair flows like time itself, untamed and endless. Her long tongue, often seen as frightening, also teaches humility, reminding devotees that even the greatest powers bow in shame when they cause harm. As you breathe slowly, you feel her presence. It is unsettling but also strangely freeing. Kal reminds you that life cannot be clung to, that all things pass, and that in letting go, you find peace. She does not hide the truth of mortality, but reveals it openly, urging you to live fully, love deeply, and accept change without fear. In your heart you realize that Kali is not only the goddess of battlefields, but also the goddess of the inner self. She destroys the demons within ignorance, arrogance, greed, fear, drinking them dry so they cannot rise again. Her sword cuts through illusion, her dance shatters the ego, her embrace releases the soul into freedom, and so though her form terrifies, her essence comforts. She is the mother who will not let you remain trapped in lies, who forces you to see the truth, who frees you from chains you did not know bound you. As her fierce laughter fades into silence, the sky brightens once more. Thunder echoes in the distance, and the scent of rain fills the air. From the clouds descends a mighty figure, armed with thunderbolt, riding a white elephant with 4 tusks. This is Indra, the once king of gods, lord of storms, and war-wielder of lightning. Indra, lord of storms. The darkness of Kala's dance fades into the rumble of thunder. Clouds gather across the sky, lightning flashes in sudden bursts, and rain pours down like silver threads. In the storm's heart, a figure appears majestic, golden, his body strong and radiant. In one hand he holds a thunderbolt, the Vajra, blazing with light. Beneath him stands Airavata, the white elephant, with 4 tusks, roaring like thunder itself. This is Indra, king of the heavens, lord of storms, ruler of the gods in the Vedic age. Once Indra was the most honored of deities, his name sung in hundreds of hymns of the Rig Veda. To the people of that time he was the supreme warrior, the protector of cattle and crops, the bringer of rain. His battles kept the universe safe, his strength gave courage to kings, his thunder nourished the fields. To call upon Indra was to call upon victory and survival. His greatest tale is of his battle with the serpent demon Vrtra, who hoarded the world's waters. For endless days, rivers and clouds lay imprisoned in Vrtra's coils, and the earth withered in drought. The gods turned to Indra, who drank the sacred soma to gain strength. Armed with the Vajra fashioned from the bones of a sage, he struck Vrtra with lightning. The serpent fell, the waters were released, and the rains returned, reviving the earth. From that day, Indra was celebrated as the slayer of Vrtra, the liberator of the rivers, the champion of life. Indra's image is rich with symbols. His thunderbolt represents that sudden force that destroys obstacles. His elephant Airavata symbolizes both strength and rain, the white clouds that carry water across the heavens. His 1,000 eyes, born from a curse, remind us of his watchfulness and also his flaws. For Indra, though mighty, is not free of weakness. Indeed, his stories reveal not only greatness, but pride and folly. At times, his arrogance led to downfalls. In one tale, when the people of Gokula ceased worshipping him and instead honored Govardhan Hill, under Krishna's guidance, Indra raged and sent storms to destroy them. Krishna calmly lifted the mountain with one hand, sheltering the villagers until Indra's fury subsided. Humbled Indra bowed to Krishna, learning that power without humility cannot last. In another story, Indra lusted after the wife of a sage, and for his transgression he was cursed with 1,000 wounds across his body. Ashamed, he prayed for forgiveness, and the wounds turned into 1,000 eyes, making him the god of 1,000 eyes, forever reminded of his error. These tales teach that even gods are not beyond weakness, and that pride often brings downfall. Yet despite his flaws, Indra remains a protector. As king of the Devas, he leads them into battle against the Asuras, the forces of darkness and chaos. His Vajra strikes like lightning, scattering enemies, restoring order. His rains sustain the harvests, filling rivers, blessing farmers who look to the sky in hope. To this day, in the monsoon season, the thunder is still called Indra's roar, and the rains his gifts. Indra's role changed as ages passed. In the Puranic age, he no longer held the supreme throne. Vishnu and Shiva rose higher, and Indra became more a guardian of heaven than its creator. Yet he still stands as king of Svarga, the heavenly realm, where heroes go after death to enjoy bliss before being reborn. His palace, said to be built of shining jewels, lies upon the peak of Mount Meru, surrounded by gardens, nymphs, and rivers of sweetness. In devotion, Indra is remembered less in temples and more in festivals and prayers for rain. Farmers still call his name during droughts, asking him to open the skies. In villages, his presence lingers in the rhythm of thunder and the downpour that follows, a reminder that storms, though fierce, bring life. As you breathe slowly, you feel Indra's presence as both mighty and flawed. He is the force of courage, the sudden strike of lightning, the roar that clears the sky. But he is also a lesson in humility, that even the strongest must bow, that power without balance leads to downfall. His myths remind you that victory is not only strength, but wisdom, restraint, and gratitude. The thunder fades into a gentler flame. You see sparks, glowing fires kindling at hearths and altars, smoke rising with prayers. Out of the flames steps another god, red and radiant, riding a goat, his 7 tongues flickering. This is Agni, the fire god messenger between humans and gods, present in every home, every sacrifice, every birth and funeral. Agni, fire of sacrifice. The roar of Indra's thunder softens into a steady crackle of fire. You see flames rising, dancing golden and red, their tongues flickering upward as if reaching for the heavens. The air grows warm, the scent of smoke fills the air, and within the blaze stands a radiant figure. Skin glowing, crimson eyes bright as embers, 7 fiery tongues flickering from his mouth. In his hand he carries a torch, and beneath him trots a goat, his faithful mount. This is Agni, the god of fire, the eternal messenger between humans and gods. From the earliest hymns of the Rig Veda, Agni has been honored as the heart of ritual. Every offering placed in the fire, clarified butter grains, fragrant herbs, becomes Agni's gift, carried upward as smoke to the realm of the gods. He is the bridge between earth and heaven, the one who delivers prayers, who transforms sacrifice into divine connection. Without him, the gods would not hear the voices of mortals. Agni is more than a single flame. He lives in many forms: the fire of the hearth warming homes and cooking meals, the fire of the altar burning in sacred rites, the fire of the sun blazing in the sky, the fire of lightning striking from clouds, the fire within the body digesting food and sustaining life. In this way he is everywhere visible, in every spark, every warmth, every light. Legends describe his birth in many ways. Some say he was born from the rubbing of two sticks, the child of heaven and earth. Others call him the son of Brahma or the brother of Indra, but all agree he is ever youthful, for each flame that burns is a new Agni, reborn again and again, never dying, only transforming. His body glows, red symbol of energy. His two heads are said to represent his dual nature, divine and earthly, celestial and domestic. His 7 tongues, Kalikaral, Manojava, Sulachana, Sudhumra Varna, Sphulingin, and Vishvarucha, lick up offerings, each tongue a pathway carrying prayers to different gods. In daily life, Agni is closest to humans. He is present at every important moment. At a child's birth, a sacred fire blesses the ceremony. At marriage, couples circle the flame, promising fidelity and unity. At death, bodies are consigned to fire, returning the soul to the eternal. From the first breath to the last, Agni witnesses every stage, reminding humankind that life itself is a sacred flame. One tale tells how Agni once grew weary of his task, burdened by the weight of carrying all offerings. He tried to hide within the ocean, but the gods found him and persuaded him back, promising that he would share in the merit of every sacrifice. Thus Agni became the one god who touches all worship, honored in every ritual, sharing in every prayer. Agni is also the destroyer of impurity. Fire consumes what is unclean, leaving only pure ash. In this way he is not only messenger but purifier, burning away falsehood, cleansing all that he touches. His flames are feared but also revered for destruction, becomes transformation, wood into smoke grain, into sustenance, the body into spirit. In myth, Agni is often called upon to witness oaths. When promises are made before the fire, they are sacred, for Agni himself will carry them to the gods. To break an oath before Agni is to defy the gods themselves, and so fire remains the symbol of truth and fidelity. Agni is not always gentle. His flames devour forests, lightning strikes with fury, heat scorches the earth. But even in destruction he renews. Forests regrow, soil is made fertile, seeds burst forth after fire. In this way Agni teaches that even harshness carries renewal, that life rises from ashes. Devotees honor him through the Havan or Homa offerings placed into fire with chants of the Vedas. Each mantra calls his name, asking him to carry prayers upward. Even today in Hindu homes, sacred fires are lit for weddings, for festivals, for blessings. The flame is never only fire, it is Agni himself present and listening. As you breathe slowly, you sense his warmth not only outside, but within. Agni burns in every heartbeat, in the fire of thought, in the warmth of life itself. Just as no life can exist without heat, no prayer reaches heaven without Agni. He is the spark in the body, the flame in the home, the blaze in the sky, the eternal witness of existence. And as the fire crackles and fades into embers, you hear the slow tread of hooves. The warmth of flame gives way to the shadow of mortality. Approaching from the south rides a dark figure upon a black buffalo, a noose in his hand, eyes solemn yet just. This is Yama, the god of death, the judge of souls, who waits to weigh the deeds of all beings. Yama, lord of death and justice, the warmth of fire dims and the air grows still. From the south comes the sound of hooves, heavy and measured. Through the mist appears a solemn figure, blue-skinned, crowned with gold, clad in red robes. In his hand he carries a noose, ready to bind the soul at its appointed hour. Beneath him strides a great black buffalo, its eyes deep as night. This is Yama, god of death, judge of souls, guardian of the southern direction. Unlike the fiery Agni or the storming Indra, Yama is calm, steady, unshakable. He is not worshipped for glory or power, but for justice, for he keeps the balance of life and death. In the earliest Vedic hymns, Yama is remembered as the first mortal who died. As the pioneer, he found the path into the afterlife, becoming its guardian and ruler. Thus all who die follow the way Yama first walked, guided to their next destiny by his hand. At his side works his loyal scribe Chitragupta, who keeps the book of life and death. In its pages are written every action of every soul, every kindness, every cruelty, every word and deed. When a person dies, Yama consults the record. Those of virtue are sent to Svarga, the heavenly realms, to enjoy bliss before rebirth. Those of wickedness are cast into Naraka, the hells, to face punishment until their sins are cleansed. Those who are neither purely good nor evil return to the cycle of birth, reborn to learn again. Yama is not cruel. His judgment is firm but fair. He is sometimes called Dharmaraja, the king of righteousness, for his decisions are guided not by anger, but by the law of Dharma. He is feared, yes, for none can escape him, but also respected, for he treats all beings equally. King and beggar, god and mortal alike must face him in time. Stories surround his role as judge. In one, the boy Nachiketa, sent to Yama's realm by his father's angry curse, waited patiently for 3 days before Yama returned. Impressed by the boy's courage, Yama offered him 3 boons. Nachiketa asked for his father's anger to end, for knowledge of the sacred fire, and finally for the secret of what happens after death. Pleased, Yama revealed to him the teaching of the immortal soul Atman, explaining that though the body dies, the spirit is eternal, merging with Brahman, the ultimate reality. This story became part of the Katha Upanishad, treasured as a lesson in courage and wisdom. Yet Yama, like Indra, has known defeat. In one tale, he came to claim the soul of Markandeya, a boy destined to die young. But Markandeya clung to the linga of Shiva, praying with unshakable devotion. When Yama cast his noose, it bound the linga as well. Shiva, angered, burst forth, striking Yama down with his trident. For a time, death itself ceased. The world grew crowded, chaos spread until the gods pleaded with Shiva to restore balance. Yama was revived, reminded that even death is not supreme over devotion and divine grace. In imagery, Yama is often shown stern, but not terrifying. His buffalo mount symbolizes steadiness and inevitability, slow yet unstoppable. His noose represents the pull of mortality, the unseen hand that guides each soul. In some depictions, he holds a staff or mace, showing his authority as judge. His eyes are watchful, seeing all deeds without partiality. Festivals recall his presence in everyday life. During Yama, Dvitiya sisters pray for their brother's long life, recalling how Yama visited his sister Yamuna and granted her wish that brothers and sisters would always honor one another. In Diwali's second day, Naraka Chaturdashi, people bathe before dawn, believing it frees them from the bonds of Yama for the year to come. Even in fear, he is invoked with reverence, for death is not punishment, but passage. As you breathe slowly, you sense Yama's lesson. He reminds you that life is fragile, that every action counts, that justice is not always immediate, but always certain. He is not an enemy, but a guide, ensuring that the cycle of life moves forward, that no soul is lost, that each finds its path according to truth. And beyond Yama's solemn figure you hear the sound of waves, the roar of the ocean, vast and endless. From the depths rises a figure, crowned with sea foam, holding a rope to bind the guilty, riding a strange creature with the body of a fish and the head of a crocodile. This is Varuna, ancient lord of the waters, guardian of cosmic law, god of the western seas. Varuna, keeper of the cosmic waters. The stillness of Yama's judgment gives way to the endless sound of waves. The sea stretches before you, vast and shining, its surface rising and falling like the breath of the universe itself. From the foam of the tide emerges a majestic figure, his crown glistening like pearls, his robe shimmering with the colors of the deep. In one hand he holds a rope, his noose of justice. Beneath him swims a great beast, the Makara, half crocodile, half fish, half peacock, a creature of mystery. This is Varuna, ancient lord of the waters, guardian of the western direction, keeper of cosmic order. In the earliest Vedic hymns, Varuna was supreme, even greater than Indra. He was praised as the creator of the universe, the upholder of RTA, the cosmic law that governs sun and moon, river and rain, truth and justice. To him the poets sang not only of power, but of wisdom and compassion. He saw all his 1,000 eyes watching the deeds of gods and mortals alike, ensuring that nothing strayed from order. Varuna's waters are not only seas and rivers, but also the hidden streams of life, the rains that nourish crops, the sap within plants, the blood within bodies. He is both the vast ocean that encircles the world and the sacred water poured in rituals connecting the smallest act of worship to the deepest cosmic flow. When people pray at dawn and dusk offering water as Arghya, it is Varuna who receives it, carrying their devotion into the eternal current. His rope, the Pasha, is both mercy and judgment. With it, he binds those who break the law, who lie, who betray truth. Yet he is also merciful, for he releases those who repent, washing away sin with his waters. In this way, Varuna is both stern and gentle, feared and beloved. To the guilty, his rope is dread. To the devoted, his waters are liberation. Legends tell of his role as guardian of the underworld seas. When demons rose to steal the treasures of the ocean, Varuna called upon Indra and the other gods to help restore balance. Yet as ages passed, Indra's thunder overshadowed Varuna's calm, and the fiery gods of storm and war took the place of the watery god of law. Still, Varuna's presence remained not in battles or victories, but in the eternal rhythm of water and truth. He is also remembered as the god who hears prayers of confession. In the Rig Veda, worshippers cry out to Varuna, begging forgiveness for hidden sins. Unlike Indra, who delights in thunder, or Agni, who blazes with fire, Varuna is quiet, listening, offering mercy. His domain is vast, his justice slow but certain, his waters cleansing all who turn to him. In imagery, Varuna is shown radiant seated upon the Makara, his strange sea creature mount, a symbol of the unknown depths. His forearms carry a noose, a conch, a lotus, and sometimes a vessel of water. His eyes gaze far, not with fury, but with calm awareness, like the ocean itself, still on the surface, yet immeasurable in depth. Festivals and rituals honor him with offerings of water. In villages, farmers pray to him for rain. In sacred rites, water is always invoked first, for without Varuna no ritual can be pure. His presence lingers in the rivers, in the rain clouds, in the oceans that cradle the earth. One tale tells of a time when Varuna promised to grant a boon to a king in exchange for his son. Bound by Dharma, the king gave his child, who grew up beneath the sea, learning the mysteries of the waters. The story shows Varuna's dual nature, stern in law, yet a teacher of wisdom, guardian of truths hidden beneath the surface. As you breathe gently, you realize Varuna's lesson. Fire may burn, thunder may roar, death may come, but beneath them all flows water, eternal, patient, ever renewing. Just as rivers wear down mountains, just as oceans embrace all rivers, truth flows quietly, yet triumphantly. Varuna is that truth, the cosmic law that cannot be broken, the current that carries all life toward its destiny. And so the journey comes full circle, from the Vedic fires to the storming Indra, from the gentle Saraswati to the fierce Kali. From Ganesha's laughter to Yama's solemn gaze, you have wandered through the realms of gods and goddesses, each one a reflection of life itself, creation and destruction, love and death, wisdom and desire, water and flame. Hindu mythology, like the river Ganga, flows endlessly, carrying countless stories, each one a drop in the ocean of time. As the waves roll on, you feel a deep calm, as though the gods themselves watch over your dreams. Their stories linger in your heart, guiding you gently into rest, where myth and memory flow together like rivers into the sea.